Good morning. Hello friends, we are back. Today is 26th December and in this video we will cover first page of the Hindu and the entire editorial page. So we will start. Give me 1 minute. Let me check. Okay. Okay, let's start. Nepal Prime Minister Deobaka likely to attend vibrant Gujarat summit. Okay, IED expert among four terrorists killed in two encounters in Kashmir. James Webb Space Telescope sets off on million-mile voyage. Can India create history by winning a test series in South Africa? So you can understand the four main topics. Okay, now move to the left part of in brief news. Capital reports 249 infections, one death, continuing the upward trend. 249 new COVID-19 cases were reported in the capital over 24 hours, the highest in more than 6 months, taking the total cases to 14,43,062. It created a health bulletin. Ludo Panchayat Health Bill to Rage Marriages. A one of its kind Lado Panchayat of girls was held in Meerut, which decided that women would not vote for candidates opposing the provision of Child Marriage Amendment Bill 2021 in the upcoming assembly polls. So we are starting our main heading. JAPS for 15 to 18 group from January 3, booster for scenario seniors from 10 January. In, in late evening, televised at 10 p.m. urged caution against Omicron variant. All our decisions with regard to vaccinations, their research, approval, and certification have been scientifically driven. I would ask that you do not panic but maintain caution in the face of new mutation of the coronavirus. Maintain use of masks and frequently wash hands. As we have faced the coronavirus, our ability to fight it has also improved. Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced on Saturday that teenagers in the 15 to 18 age group would be eligible for COVID-19 vaccination, and frontline and health workers and senior citizens above the age of 60 with comorbidities would be eligible to the on the advice of doctors for what he termed a precaution on third dose. In a late evening at televised address to the nation, Mr. Modi announced the dates for the commencement of this vaccination process. January 3, 2022 will see the rollout of vaccination for those 15 to 18, while January 10 will be the commencement date for precaution dose for frontline and health workers and the elderly with comorbidities. All our decisions with regard to vaccination, their research, approval, and certification have been scientifically driven as had upward vaccination drive and who is eligible to be vaccinated first. In this regard, the decisions should have were made, the prime minister said. Vaccinations for the children aged 15 to 18, he said, will not only help protect them as schools have reopened in many places but also go a long way in assuring worried parents. In the course of his nearly 15-minute address, the prime minister urged caution without panic in dealing with the Omicron variant. He gave an overview of the ground level preparations already made by the government with regard to healthcare systems in anticipation of Omicron and taking lessons from the second wave. Vaccine coverage currently nearly 90% of all those eligible for vaccines have had at least one dose, and 61% of eligible population has had both doses. We have over 18 lakh hospital beds available, out of which 5 lakh beds are oxygen supported. Almost 90,000 intensive care unit ICU beds are for children alone, and over 30,000 PSA oxygen plants have been set up across the country. Mr. Modi said on the healthcare infrastructure ramp up after the second wave devastated India in the summer month. I would ask that you do not panic but maintain caution in the face of the new mutation of the coronavirus. Maintain use of masks and frequently wash hands. As we have faced the coronavirus, our ability to fight it has also improved. He said. Covaxin cleared for those above 12. Covaxin has been approved for use in those aged 12 and above. The Drugs Controller General of India (DCGI). This would make it the second vaccine approved for use in India for those below 18. The Hindu has just seen a letter by V. Somani DCI according approved for the vaccine as two doses 4 weeks apart. The DCGI in August granted emergency approval to Giacop D, a three-dose DNA COVID-19 vaccine developed by the Ahmedabad-based Zydus Cadila Group, making it the first vaccine in India that could be administered to adults and those aged 12 and above. The company has said it can make 1 crore vaccines a month. So far, Covaxin constitutes about 10% of the nearly 140 crore doses administered in India. 12 farmers union formed front to fight Punjab Post. Samyukt Kisan Morcha, however, decides against contest. Ahead of the Punjab Assembly election due early in 2022, 22 of the 32 states farmer unions that were at the forefront of the agitation against the now repealed farm laws announced on Saturday they would contest the election under the banner of Samyukt Samaj Morcha. The Samyukt Kisan Morcha SKM, the umbrella farmers body that spearheaded the protests, however, said it would not contest the polls. The new political front, which announced it would contest all 117 assembly seats, each being anchored by Balveer Singh Rajewal of the Bharati Kisan Union (BKU), Rajewal Harmeet Singh of the BKU, said that after coming back from the Delhi borders, people in Punjab were pinning high hopes on farmers to resolve long pending issues plaguing the state. To fulfill the aspiration of the people, 22 unions have decided to jointly contest the election. He said the decision to contest posed saw divergent responses from the unions. The PKU Ekta Ugrahan, one of the largest outfits in the Punjab, and the Kisan Mazdoor Sangharsh Committee (KMSC), a prominent outfit at the forefront of the agitation, clearly said they would not be contesting the election. Both were not part of the 32 unions but were working in a coordination with theme to get the farm laws revoked. Not anonymous. We were with the other outfits only for the movement but not for the elections. If any harm comes to our struggle on farmers issue due to the decision of these 22 unions to fight the election, they shall be directly responsible for the consequences. These unions have taken their own decisions, but we do not agree with it. VKU, you Generally Secretary Sukhdev Singh Kalan told the Hindu servants the Sarwan Singh Pandhar, General Secretary of the KMSC, said the constitution of their outfits did not allow electoral politics. We will continue to work as a pressure group, he said. Jagmohan Singh, General Secretary BKU Ekta Dako Dakunda, said it would not take the plunge into electoral politics, and a meeting had been convened on 27 December to decide whether or not to support the farmer unions which wanted to contest. Ludhiana blast meant to create panic. The Punjab police have identified the person killed in the Ludhiana court complex blast as Gagandeep Singh, a dismissed policeman. The investigation revealed that the deceased was carrying the explosive. Punjab Director General of Police DGP Siddharth Chattopadhyay said at a press conference here on Saturday. Singh, 31, a resident of the Khanna, was a police constable and dismissed in August 2019 after 385 grams of heroin was recovered from his possession. Preliminary investigations suggests that accused Gagandeep Singh wanted to create fear and panic at the court premises, he said. Don't understand. Congress in UP says working people are intently listening to Priyanka. Chhattisgarh Chief Minister and Congress leader Bhupesh Baghel says the party organization of Uttar Pradesh is much improved now and no one should underestimate the party. In an interview with the Hindu, the Mr. Baghel, a senior poll observer of the Congress for UP, said voters had tried out parties whose politics was based on caste and religious symbolism and were now looking at a party that could address their real issues. Uttar Pradesh always spring a surprise in 2012. The BJP was in the fourth place but went to form the government in 2017 after doing well in the 2014 Lok Sabha election. People of the state have seen the politics of caste, but be it Mayawati, बहुjan Samaj Party or Akhilesh Yadav Samajwadi Party. And for the past 5 years, they have seen the BJP seeking votes in the name of religion. Now, people are asking, what have we gained? Who was standing with us during the time of crisis? He said Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, Pratigya Patra, promise document seeks to address the issues of farmers, Dalits, women, traders, and small entrepreneurs. Whether it is the farming community, Dalits, or small entrepreneurs, each person wants to know who is going to address his or her issue. That's why people are intently listening to Priyanka ji. Mr. Bagin said, okay. A man dressed as Santa Claus outside the St. Mary Church at Gulmarg in North Kashmir during the Christmas celebration on Saturday. Okay. Mob disrupts Christmas event in Haryana. School men and women from the audience in wait stage rage pro-Hindu slogans. Why a video grab showing a group raging pro-Hindu slogans at the Christmas event at Patodi, Haryana. A group of people raging pro-Hindu slogans disrupted a Christmas program at a private school in Patodi, Haryana on Friday evening. The organizers, House of Hope, a social religious organization, described the incident as sad but didn't register a police complaint. The Christmas Milan program, including a small skit and singing of Christmas carols, was being held at a primary school when some men and women invaded the stage and took over the mic, raging slogans of Jai Sri Ram and Bharat Mata Ki Jai. One of the men, they announced from the podium that they wanted the welfare of the entire world, but not through conversation. The men and women were sitting inside when we started the program. We asked them if they had any objection, but they said we could continue. While the program was going on, they took our mic and raised slogans. They did not allow us to continue our program, said one of the members of the House of Hope, speaking to over the phone. He said the program was organized by a member of their group, a resident of Patodi, on his own expenses. No FIA register. He said every religion had the right to celebrate their festival, but added that his group was not much interested in getting an FIA registered. Such incidents are on the rise. It is said, he said, videos of the incident have gone viral on social media showing the men and women raging the slogans. The Gurugram police said they have not received any complaint in this regard. The incident comes amid an ongoing controversy in Gurugram over opposition to offering of Friday prayers in the open by the Muslim community. Haryana Chief Minister Manohar Lal had also earlier this month said that offering of namaz at public places would not be tolerated. On July 4, a Mahapanchayat was held in Patodi where the speakers made provocative speeches targeting a religious minority. One person was arrested in this connection after an FIR was registered. 30 killed bodies burnt in Myanmar. More than 30 people, including women and children, were killed and their bodies burnt in Myanmar's conflict torn Coyote State on Friday, according to a local resident media reports and a local human rights group. The the Karenni human rights group said they found the burnt bodies of internally displaced people killed by the military that rules Myanmar near Moso village of Hipruso town on Saturday. The Myanmar military said it had shot and killed an unspecified number of terrorists and with weapons from the opposition armed forces in the village. State media said. So now we have covered our first page. Now move to the editorial page. States. Science and technology study of distant magnet reveals facet of the exotic star. The short-lived flare recorded by the ISS instrument spewed as much energy in a tenth of a second that our sun would radiate in 1 lakh years. Okay. What are the head and the tailwinds in the economy? I think this is more important. Okay, we can cover this. What are the head and tailwinds in the economy? In which sectors has the recovery gained momentum? What needs to be done to sustain growth? The story is so for India, the year gone by has been about rebuilding from the ravages of 2020 amid the COVID-19 storm, which had pushed the already slowing economy into contraction mode. To refresh the context in which 2021 down, the country's gross domestic product (GDP) growth had slipped to a mere 3% in the fourth quarter of 2019-20. The pandemic-related lockdowns and the stalling economy into free fall, causing output to shrink by 24.4% and 7.4% in the first two quarters of 2020-21, respectively. The resultant destruction meant that job and income losses coincided with the unfolding health crisis, cramping consumptions and disrupting production supply chains across industries, while contact intensive sector like tourism, restaurant and other services you morphed. It was only after the first COVID-19 wave had peaked in September 2020 that GDP growth crawled back to the surface with a merge of 0.5% rate of expansion in the third quarter. The new year it was hoped would help unravel the damage added by the rapid vaccination against the novel coronavirus as well as specific policy steps to rescue and resuscitate the worst affected sectors of the economy. Okay, how did the Indian economy fare this year? Is it out of the woods yet? With an eye on making up lost ground in February, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman Union budget for 2021-22 bet on pushing infrastructure spending to revive the economy but refrained from providing income support for those worst affected by the pandemic. An ambitious 1.75 lakh crore target was set to disinvestment from public sector enterprises backed by a new policy to retain a bare minimum presence of state-owned firms even in strategic sectors. The government explained that higher capital spending would trigger multiplier effects by nudging up demand in several sectors and spur job creation and consumption. Economists were concerned about the implementation risk of this approach, including the time public investment projects may take to fructify before the multiplier effects trickle down. While the government talked of prospects of a sharp V-shaped recovery, experts fretted about a K-shaped recovery unfolding thanks to a divergence between those who needed to protect their lives and livelihoods and those who were able to sustain themselves like corporates and those in white-collar jobs who had not been too badly affected by the pandemic. The COVID-19 virus however, watch Eminem so much nuanced debates and decided to play spoiler even before the budget fine print had sunk in. By the end of March, India was firmly in the grip of a much deadlier second wave, prompting the center to unveil fresh relief measures for industry as well as vulnerable sections, such as providing free food grains, which has now been extended till March 2022. If the virus had weighed heavily on livelihoods in 2020, this year it claimed a far greater human cost with high fatalities. In contrast, the economic suffering from the second wave was less pronounced and supply chains were less stressed, and with the restrictions on mobility and business activities being localized across states, unlike the hard nationwide lockdown was 2022. Of course, this is not to say the second wave didn't hurt growth. After a sedate 1.6% upstick in GDP between January and March, the economy expanded by an under whamming 20.1% in the April to June quarter, when it was hoped that the base effect of the sharp 24.4% slide in the previous year would push the number higher, with households being impacted more severely. Consumption share in GDP fell during this quarter, while manufacturing and construction recovered. the economy's overall output remained far below even the low pre-pandemic levels. Gross value added GVA watched to 7.8% shy of the level seen in the first quarter of 2019-20, while GDP remained 9.2% lower. Things have improved as per the latest national accounts data, but only just, as the July to September quarter registered 0.4% GDP growth, pulling the economy 0.3% above the same quarter in 2019. The first half of financial year 2021 to 22 has now recorded 13.5% GDP growth, and the finance ministry experts say double-digit expansion for the full year ending in March 2022, but one cannot say the economy has truly come out of the woods yet. Real GPA for the first half of this fiscal year remains 3.7% below the first half of 2019-20, and this difference is even larger for real GDP at 4.4%. E by India Chief Policy Advisor DK Srivastava pointed out 2021 to 22 has been spent mostly in making up for the contraction in 2022 20 to 21. Even if a real GDP growth of 9.5% is achieved this fiscal, India would lead only marginally on the positive side as compared to 2019 to 20. He said. Most economists believe higher inflation is the biggest risk for the coming year as supply chain problems in key components, volatile commodity and oil prices as well as shipping disruption are likely to deepen. Which sectors are back to pre-pandemic levels now, and where does the pain persist? Why the recovery has gained momentum despite the second wave, it still remains uneven and fragmented, with economists also convinced about its sustainability. Care ratings economists Madans Nevis and Kavita Chacko noted that demand and investments were yet to see a meaningful and durable pickup, and any improvements were expected to be limited and gradual as the domestic economy had been grappling with low demand and a subdued investment climate even before the COVID-19 shock. While agriculture, the only sector to record positive growth throughout the pandemic, has held firm. Sectors like manufacturing, mining, electricity recovered above pre-COVID levels by September, but employment-intensive sectors like construction, the contact-intensive trade, and hotels industry, as well as financial services and real estate, continue to languish below their pre-pandemic levels. There are some other interesting aspects of this year's economic trajectory. Exports have done well, hitting records numbers so far, but imports have been surging as well, widening India's merchandise trade deficit to an all-time high of $22.9 billion in November. The rupee, which had recovered after falling below 76 to a dollar in March 2020, weakened weakened past that mark again recently. Tax collections, both direct and indirect, have fared surprisingly well. Goods and services tax revenue stayed above 1 lakh crore rupee a month for most of the year, while retail inflation moderated in the initial period of this year after staying beyond the current central bank's 6% tolerance threshold through the large parts of 2019. It has been inching back up in recent months, hitting a three-month high of 4.9% in November. Wholesale price inflation has also hit an all-time high in the current series of the index, making input costs the number one worry for business. Pradeep Multani, PhD, CCI president, said supply side issues such as high commodity price and raw material shortage were denting industry margins, especially for small and medium enterprises that generate high employment. He opines that the government needs to handhold the economy in view of the risk that pose to consumption and private investments, even as the new virus variant Omicron is a fresh dark cloud on the horizon. What I think May 2022 hold, and what are the biggest risks to growth? The uncertain effects of Omicron and other virus mutation aside, the OECD has projected global growth to slow to 4.5% in 2022 from 5.6% this year, with India's growth backed at 8.1% for 2022-23. On the bright side, ICRA chief economist Aditya Nair is hopeful for consumption returning to normality that could ramp up industry's capacity utilization rate and set the stage for a broad-based investment revival by the end of 2022. Economists believe higher inflation is the biggest risk for the coming year as supply chain problems in key components, volatile commodity and oil prices, as well as just shipping disruptions are likely to deepen at least in the first half of the year, with retail inflation at a 40-year high in the US. Interest rates hike. Interest rate hikes there could warrant a shift in the central bank's current monetary policy stance, prioritizing growth over inflation. India's policy makers, if be it North Bloc mandarins formulating the budget or Mint Street bosses in Mumbai, have their task cut out for a smooth landing in 2022. On the brink. Why is Afghanistan staring at a humanitarian disaster? What does this mean for the war-torn country? The stories of war for Afghanistan 2021 was one of the watershed years in its history. After 20 years of war, the US pulled back its troops from Afghanistan, which led to the return of the Taliban to power. While the Taliban now has the whole country under their control, this seems clueless on how to address a looming humanitarian crisis as several countries have suspended or substantially cut aid to Afghanistan after the Taliban takeover. The country is on the brink of a humanitarian disaster. How bad is the humanitarian situation? Almost 80% of the fallen Afghan government's budget came from international development assistance after the Taliban took over of Kabul on August 15. Most of the donors suspended government, and the US has also frozen nearly 9.5 billion dollar of Afghan central bank assets, mainly held in New York, Fed, and American financial institutions. The Taliban remains on the U.S. Treasury Department's sanctions list. According to the UN World Food Program, the situation could become the world's worst humanitarian crisis. UN agencies estimate that about 23 million of Afghanistan's nearly 40 million people are facing acute food shortages. Other countries, including the US, European nation, and India, have sent humanitarian aid to ameliorate the situation, as most commercial flights to Kabul are still suspended and is being sent by road to the landlocked country, mainly through Pakistan, Iran, and Central Asia. Amid growing calls for international action to address the situation, the UN Security Council on December 22 unanimously adopted a resolution that facilitates humanitarian aid to Afghanistan, but all the international sanctions on the Taliban are still in place. UN agency estimated that about 23 million Afghanistan's nearly 40 million people are facing acute food shortage. How are the Taliban ruling? While the Taliban have said the new regime would be different from the old one of Mullah Omar, there is a little evidence on the ground suggesting any real change, at least not yet. Reportedly, there are two different factions within the Taliban, one dominated by the Haqqanis, who have close ties with Al Qaeda and the Pakistani intelligence establishment, and the other by a relatively moderate wing comprising Mullah Abdul Ghani Baradar, who is currently the deputy prime minister. The selection of a Pashtun man only cabinet and decisions such as keeping girls out of primary education suggest that hardliners have an upper hand in decision making, despite a general amnesty that the Taliban announced after they seized power. Extrajudicial killings continued. According to a recent Human Rights Commission (HRC) report, at least 72 executions were attributed to the Taliban since mid-August, and in several cases, bodies were publicly displayed. Some 4.2 million young Afghans are out of school, 60% of them girls, says the HRC report. Does the Taliban regime have international recognition? No country has formally recognized the Taliban regime this time, but several countries, including Pakistan, China, Russia, and the Central Asian republics, have kept their diplomatic missions open in Kabul. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi had held direct talks with Taliban delegations in September. Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan told the UN General Secretary that the only way forward for Afghanistan is to strengthen strengthen and stabilize the current government. Qatar, which hosted the Taliban US talks that led to the American withdrawal from Afghanistan, poses itself as a conduit between the West and the Taliban. The UAE recently reached out to the Taliban by opening embassy operations. According to a Taliban spokesperson, the UAE assured the Taliban that it would not allow former Afghan President Ashraf Ghani, who had taken refuge in the Emirates, to engage in political activities. All these developments suggest that a larger group of countries are ready to engage the Taliban this time. Is the war over? While fighting has receded, Afghanistan is far from reaching peace and stability. Unlike in the 1990s, the Taliban have taken control of almost all of the country, including Pan Panjshir Valley in the north, which defied both the Soviets and the Taliban earlier, but the Panjshir guerrillas were not defeated. They retreated to the mountains. Their commander Ahmad Massoud, son of the legendary Panjshir warlord Ahmad Shah Massoud, is reportedly in Tajikistan along with Amrullah Saleh, former vice president. They may be waiting for an opportunity to strike back, like the Taliban did after they were ousted in 2001. The immediate security challenge the Taliban face, however, is from the Islamic State Khorasan, the Afghan wing of the IS. The ISK has carried out multiple bombings since the Taliban takeover, stuck between a humanitarian disaster and the Taliban's Islamic total totalitarianism. The people of Afghanistan are also being hunted down by terrorists of the Islamic State. How has India responded to SARS-CoV-19 variants? Where do we stand on vaccination, booster dosage, and shots for children? What is the challenge from Omicron? The stories so far India began 2021 with the hope that cases would continue to decline as you had been the trend from September 2020 that the two vaccination would help stem the spread of COVID-19. Then Delta and a vicious second wave struck at the end of the year. The appearance of Omicron has brought its own set of challenge. What is the vaccine strategy? In January, Bharat Biotech, the maker of Covaxin, got an emergency use authorization from the Indian Drugs Controller General with Covishield developed by the Serum Institute of India. Pune Covishield was based on the CHAdOxi vaccine made by Oxford University and had been approved in the UK after phase 3 clinical trial results for vaccine phase 3 trials were not underway, and regulators approved it largely on data from phase 1 and phase 2 trials that showed it was safe and produced an immunogenic reaction. The rush for vaccines was propelled by a need to inoculate India's frontline doctors and nurses, followed by the rest of the adult population. What brought the second wave? Daily infections had gone down to nearly 5,000 in February, but around the second week of February, Maharashtra saw a sudden spike in cases, with Amravati in the Vidarbha region emerging as a new COVID-19 hotspot. Average daily new cases climbed from 2,500 in the last week of January to 3,000 January to 3,500 from February 10 to 15. In December 2020, India had formally set up the India SARS-CoV-2 Genomics Consortium (ENASCOG), a collaboration of 38 labs across the country that would sample a percentage of genomes which were COVID-19 positive to check for mutations. The group, overseen by the Department of Biotechnology and the Health Ministry, was largely focused on airports and screening passengers with an international travel history. The World Health Organization had highlighted three prominent variants of concern: the UK variant, South Africa variant, and the Brazil variant, now known as the Alpha, Beta, and Gamma variants, that countries with genomic sequencing facilities were advised to watch out for. None of the Maharashtra strains showed all the defining mutations, and so the emphasis continued to be on tracking international variants of concern. On April 8, with daily cases close to a lakh and higher than it had About been as per India's official count. India acknowledged and classified a variant B.1.617 that came to be known as Delta after a new naming convention adopted by the WHO. The Genomic Consortium body in INSACOG later revealed that the variant had actually been first known in India in December 2020 and was as of April 2021 present in at least 8 countries. How did the second wave devastate India? April and May were India's worst months, with the cases rising to nearly 4 lakh a day at peak in May, and this was the period when structural weakness of the health administrative system were laid bare. The Delta infection was characterized by the pronounced respiratory illness and a need for oxygen supplementation, which meant that India's hospitals, particularly in Delhi, that lacked in-house oxygen manufacturing plants, were overwhelmed. Oxygen tanks had to be imported and airlifted. Various estimates revealed that India's coronavirus death toll was far in excess of what official numbers revealed and ranged anywhere from twice to 11 times the official toll by a consensus where there are anywhere from 20 to 60 lakh cases that's due to COVID-19. The official count as of today is a little under 5 lakh. Several states are in the process of adjusting their actual death counts, and a more complete picture is expected to emerge later in 2022. What about the pace of vaccination? Earlier in the year, India decided to export vaccine to a few countries as part of vaccine Matri initiative. Not anticipating that a devastating wave would mean a greater need for vaccine. India has had not ensured suppliers for vaccine beyond Covishield and Covaxin, and the latter, despite the accelerated approval and experience with making other vaccines, was ill-equipped to rapidly scale up supply. The center initially refused to extend vaccines to all adults, but when public anger grew, approved it, and tries to pass on the responsibility of procurement to states. While several countries were vaccinating their citizens for free, Covishield and Covaxin proved to be among the most expensive on offer in the retail market. In the public hospitals where they were available for free, stocks are limited. It was only after the center stepped in again as a single buyer that the vaccination program stabilized. As of today, India has administered around 141 crore vaccines, 90% of which are Covishield. About 88.6% of the population had nearly 90% of adults have been inoculated with one dose, while 60% are fully vaccinated. How is India facing up on how is India facing up to an Omicron? On Saturday, Prime Minister Modi announced vaccination for children in the age group of 15 to 18 years from January 2020 and booster dose for frontline workers and those about 60 years old with the comor- comorbidities. India has just so far reported a little over 200 cases of the highly infectious Omicron variant. Through reports from South Africa suggest that Omicron is not as severe as Delta. The spread of the infection, especially among the vaccinated in Europe and the US, has sparked fear in India, with some states banning Christmas and New Year gatherings, and the Union Health Secretary writing to states to demarcate containment zones and impose movement restrictions if cases and hospitalization rise. On Saturday, Prime Minister Modi announced vaccination for children in the age group of 15 to 18 years from January 2022 and booster doses for frontline workers and those above 60 years old with comorbidities. Through India has several local manufacturers in advanced stages of vaccine trials. The experience with Covaxin suggests that being able to deliver scale in a challenge amid warnings to mask up and eschew crowds. Only the weeks ahead will clarify the extent of challenge from Omicron. A new front in the battle against the pandemic. The antiviral drugs developed by the Pfizer and the Merck mark a significant advance in the management of the COVID-19 outbreak. China's offshore rules to cut uncertainty Enclades stage order imposing 873 crore rupee fine on beer makers. CCI fined United Beverage 751.8 crore rupee. The Chinese central bank vows to foster healthy realty market. Falcorum Digital scouts for multiple acquisition firm to add 1,200 jobs in 2 years. Every third informal worker is now registered on eShram. Total enrollment crosses 14 crore mark. Labor Minister. Okay, Team India has the best chance to conquer the final frontier. The three-test series begins today at South Africa Fortress Centurion, where the visitors have never won before. Dravid's first overseas test as coach. Balamurugam Sravani win. Ram Radiant Trumps beats Bangalore Challengers 22-18 in the Summit Clash. UP clinches National Junior Hockey Crown. I-League Gokulam meets Churchill. Tau takes on India. Arrows like Rajasthan and United play round glass Punjab. Newton France. Okay. Science and technology study of distant magnetar reveals facets of the exotic star. The short-lived flare recorded by the ISIS instruments spewed as much energy in a tenth of a second that a person will radiate in 1 lakh years. Star having around 10 to 25 times the solar mass eventually shrink to form neutron stars. A small number of neutron stars become so-called magnetars, which possess intense magnetic fields. Magnetars are relatively rare objects, with only about 30 having been spotted within the Milky Way so far. Magnetars emit violent flares. It is only during a flare that they can be observed, and these flares are so short-lived that it presents a major challenge. The observed giant's flare lasted approximately 160 milliseconds, and during this time, the flare spewed as much energy that a person will radiate in 1 lakh years. An artist illustration of the magnetar, which is about 13 million light years away in the direction of NGC 253, a prominent galaxy in the Sculpture group of galaxy. Japanese professor creates a tele tele-taste TV screen. The device uses a set of 10 flavor contesters that spray in combination. Contestants of taste the TV being filled with the flavors. Okay, releasing the booster shots. What are we waiting for? There is evidence to suggest that immunity, when it wanes after the second dose, can be boosted with the third dose. Using music to better manage your dementia. Brain scans indicated long known music activities varies brain areas. Musical memory, rhythm, beat. Okay. Thank you. We will meet on 27 December. If you like this video, we will continue this format, and you can comment if you don't like. So we will we will find out another way to deliver the content so that you can understand and learn something, and you can be a better version of yourself after doing practice and practice. Okay, like this video, share this channel as much as possible. Thank you. Have a nice day.